Tonight, why are worms so important to our gardens? We're digging deep with the Denver Urban Gardens to find out. Then we're heading to Buena Vista, Colorado, where Peaks Precast is using a special concrete technology to build faster, more affordable homes across our state. And we're meeting the next generation of civic leaders competing in Falcon, Colorado for the Eastern Plains Area Civics Bee. Plus, a Colorado filmmaker takes us on a river adventure as we see women exploring the joys of fly fishing for the first time. It all starts now here on Studio 12.
From the 5 Points Media Center in the heart of Denver, Colorado, this is Studio 12.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Harrer. Tonight, we're getting our hands dirty with Denver Urban Gardens by digging into the surprising world of worms. PBS 12's Erica McClarty and her daughter Charlie got a hands-on lesson in how red wiggler worms can turn everyday food scraps into nutrient-rich compost. From building their very own worm bin to meeting the wiggly creatures up close, the experience shows us just how easy and cute sustainability can be. Take a look.
I would not live in this.
What if something small
And a little wiggly.
could make a big difference? We're here with Denver Urban Gardens, learning how to make nutrient-rich compost that you could do right at home.
Using worm bins.
Yes, and we're learning not only how to make the worm bins, but also why worms
Are the superheroes.
of nutrient-rich compost. Joining us today is Christy from Denver Urban Gardens to teach Charlie and her bestie Murray how to make their own worm bin. So we start with a 10-gallon tote. What do you see in this bin?
Holes.
Holes. Why do we have holes in the bin?
For like air to get in.
You got it, Charlie, for air. Our worms are living creatures, so we're gonna build them a really happy home so that they can turn our food scraps into compost. We've got some paper bags, I've got a cardboard drink tray, and then some compostable packaging that we can put in our worm bin. The other thing that we use for bedding is
Leaves.
leaves. When do leaves fall to the ground?
In fall.
In the fall, exactly. So these are all free materials that we can get from our very own home and use them for bedding. So let's start tearing some stuff up. You want to take a napkin, Charlie? You grab that one, Marie, and let's put it into this bin. All right, throw it in here. This will be our bucket. And we'll just make it into little pieces. Okay, what else can we put in there? Let's get some newspaper.
Okay.
So why don't we put some gloves on, because we're gonna crumble up these leaves. Let's put them in the bin here. Shake, shake, shake. Now get in there with your hands and crumple up those leaves. You guys ready to add some water?
Yeah.
Let's go outside.
Okay.
Making a gargling sound. Do you guys want to add your leaves into that bin? So rather than sending all this great organic material to the landfill, we're going to turn it into compost.
The worms will go in there.
They're going to go in there. But first, we're going to set up their home. This looks pretty wet, doesn't it? Can worms swim?
No.
No, you're right.
This looks like a good worm home.
What do you think, Murray?
Yeah. I would not live in this.
Why?
It's soggy. Soggy and wet. I don't think Murray wants to live in newspaper. It might be cold.
Okay, so we're back inside. Are you guys ready to meet our office worm bin?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the lid that we have. Notice that it's not closed. Why do we think that might be?
So the worms can breathe more?
You're so smart. Yes, exactly, so the worms can breathe. So we always want to leave the lid a little bit open so that the worms have lots of airflow. Do you think worms can see? Do they have eyeballs?
No.
No, you're right. But they do detect light. So these are really special worms. These are composting worms. They're called red wigglers. And they live in the leaf litter. They're a decomposer. So that's why they work really well for home composting. So if we keep the lid ajar, they can see the light and then they know where their home is. Otherwise, if it was all completely dark,
It would be lost.
they would be so lost. They'd be so confused. So that's our lid. Okay, this is their air conditioning. So when we have a bin, we use the spray bottle to keep the paper nice and moist. And then that way, when it evaporates, it acts like a little cooling system so that our worms don't get too hot or too cold. So these worms are gonna live nice and happy, either indoors in our air conditioning, in our garages, maybe they could live in our basement. And then if we pull all of this bedding aside, where do you think we'll find the worms?
The bottom?
At the bottom, exactly. The worms like to live really close to where their food is. They also don't like the light. So if we were to pick some of these guys up and scoop them up, they're gonna try to hide from the light. Do you see all the little babies? Yeah. They're being so busy turning all of our kitchen scraps, everything that we're putting into the bin, into soil, into compost.
Now, what do these worms eat?
That is such a good question.
Delicious. I want to eat this so bad.
So we've got a
Banana peel?
banana peel. We've got some
Peel.
avocado shells. I've got half-eaten apple,
Cores.
apple core, some mushy lettuce, and then lots and lots of tea. I drink a lot of tea. But if you drink coffee, you guys don't drink coffee, do you?
Coffee. I actually do have coffee.
The worms love coffee.
Do they eat like the coffee grounds?
They do eat the coffee grounds. So what do you think? These are really small worms. Do you think they're gonna be able to eat this big banana peel?
Should we peel it up into pieces?
Yes, but our worms are vegan, so they don't like to eat meat, fat, cheese, or dairy. They just like to eat vegetable scraps. But they can also eat paper products. So basically, if it comes from the earth, it can go back to the earth.
Oh, that's smart.
You guys are like a sous chef for the worms. So we're gonna give the worms a little bit of eggshells, but see how it's these big pieces here?
Yeah.
This is gonna be really hard for them to break down. So when we put eggshells in, we wanna grind them really fine. So you can use a mortar and pestle, or you can put them in your blender. Do you think that worms have teeth? No, they don't.
Do they just like swallow it whole?
So they have a really, really basic digestive system. So we give them these eggshells so that they have a little bit of grit that helps their gizzard move along their food. All right, so a worm's favorite food.
Is avocado.
It's avocado.
Yes. Oh, that's right.
So when we feed the worms, we want to put the food at the very, very bottom. So let's move all of this bedding out of the way. This is the gooey part.
Yes.
Yay, hungry, hungry worms. These worms are doing a great ecological service and they're turning that food into compost. So one day, this whole bin is gonna be just worm castings. Look at that. Fresh compost, ready to go into our soils so that we can grow some healthy food. It's good for our plants, it's good for our planet.
It's like recycling.
It is recycling. We are recycling organic material.
How do you know if your worms are happy?
Well, there's a couple ways to tell. First of all, if they're living in the bottom, then they're happy. If you come and you see your worms trying to crawl away, they're looking for a better place to live.
Okay.
Do we want to collect some worms from here?
Yes.
Let's do it. How do you think we get the worms out?
Do you just dig it and get them all out?
We can.
Or do you have like some sort of...
We've got a special tool. So this is a sifter, a soil sifter. And when I want to collect my worms, I'm going to keep all of this bedding and that'll just go into the old bed. We'll give them a new place to live. But say we wanted to harvest these guys. So we can put some of this stuff on here and then we would just shake it up. See how all the castings are coming out the bottom? You're gonna keep doing that until all that's left in here is worms. But I think for today, we're just gonna go worm hunting.
So just dig in.
Let's dig in there and find them.
Got one. Oh yeah, this this guy. This guy is Bob.
Bob the composting worm.
And this is Timothy. Timmy D special. Oh, they're so cute. Look at them. DFS. What should this guy be named? Tony. Tony. Do you want some more worms, Murray? For sure. Oh, he's going so fast. Speedo. That's Speedo. Speedo Dorito. Sanic. Compost Club. Look how cute he is. Alright, so we got our finished worm bin. I'll go into the bin.
And we're gonna put a brick or a block, something so that the bin is lifted up off of the ground. What would happen if we put it right flat on the ground?
Oh, the holes might not be able to lose too much water if there's too much water.
Exactly. Do you want to put your worms in their new home?
Can I grab them one at a time or just pour?
Just dump them in there. Christy also said that this is perfect if you live in an apartment or you don't have a backyard. They even have a worm bin at their office, which is pretty cool. Anyway, thanks so much for learning today.
You're welcome.
Yes. And if you want to see more workshops with Doug, you just go to dug.org.
Which one's Bob again?
I love how they named their worms. What a great TV debut for Speedo Dorito. For more information on worm bin workshops and community garden programs you can get involved in, visit Denver Urban Gardens at dug.org. Colorado's housing challenges have sparked a search for faster, more affordable building solutions, and one company in Buena Vista believes it can help by changing the way homes are built. In tonight's Business of Colorado, Franny Matthews sits down with Brent Wall, founder and president of Peaks Precast, to explore how precast concrete can help speed up construction timelines while improving efficiency. Wall also shares how the company is working to reduce costs, limit weather-related delays, and build a more consistent construction process. Take a look.
My name is Brent Wall, and I'm with Peaks Precast, where I'm the founder and president.
Tell me about your company.
So Peaks Precast designs, manufactures, and installs precast concrete solutions to expedite construction for commercial and residential.
Tell me about where you're set up and what your business looks like physically.
Absolutely. So we have a manufacturing facility in Buena Vista. We're up in the industrial park right next to the airport. We acquired that building in May 2025 and had to undergo a pretty large renovation to get it to where it is today. We've been actively pouring concrete and doing our precast panels since October, and we're really excited this week we're going to be delivering to our first client for our precast concrete panels called Fast Foundations.
Tell me a little bit about what this means for innovation in the construction industry and specifically in housing, because affordable housing is a big deal in Colorado, obviously.
Absolutely. So it's two parts. The first part is education. Precast concrete has been around for a long time. I'm originally from Pennsylvania and utilized it a fair amount in the Northeast. If you go up to Wisconsin, Minnesota, any other state or city that has labor problems or weather constraints, they've all turned to precast. Colorado has been a slow adopter to precast concrete, so a big part of it is just educating people of what precast concrete is, how we can utilize it to expedite our construction schedules and to reduce overall project costs. But then additionally, we have a little bit of innovation to go with it and how we're utilizing off-site manufacturing and some of our modular components to be able to deliver it to the job site faster and have it be installed even quicker to really expedite the construction schedules.
When you're in a manufacturing environment, how flexible are you on changing the requirements for each thing that you're doing?
Sure. We're extremely flexible, but it will slow down the process. So it's all about being efficient. So if we can rinse and repeat the same product over and over, we can be even more efficient and more cost effective. But we are able to do custom applications.
How does this compare to the traditional way of doing it on site?
Sure, so the traditional way, you need to do your excavation, and then you need to start with your strip footer, and that's a 2 to 3 day process. And there's also inspections and cure time and some weather constraints and labor constraints that go into that. Once that process is done, then you can start doing your vertical wall systems. And again, it could be 2 to 3 to up to a week long. And that also has the same labor, weather constraints, and inspection requirements. What we do is we fabricate everything off-site, deliver it to the project, and it can get installed in the same day once the excavation has been complete. So our quote is foundations in a day. versus 3 weeks, which would be the traditional method.
So that's got to be more cost effective.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our product is cost effective to begin with. We want to make sure we're cost neutral when getting compared against a more traditional foundation system. But then additionally, all the soft costs that go along with taking weeks off the construction schedule show a huge benefit to the contractor and to the owner.
Well, I would think Colorado, this would be especially helpful because the old saying is if you don't like Colorado's weather, just wait 10 minutes. So
Yes.
it's gotten a lot more predictable, but it is very variable. So I would think that that would take huge amounts of time off the process.
It would. It limits risk. That's really what we're all about, limiting risk by accelerating the construction schedule with off-site solutions. So today, for example, is beautiful. It's 58 degrees outside. You could be doing every type of construction activity. Tomorrow, we're supposed to get a foot of snow. Realistically, probably wouldn't be able to do another concrete activity for 4, 5, or 6 more days when we can still produce our off-site fabricated solution and deliver that to the job site when they're ready for it. And we won't miss multiple days on the calendar because of a snowstorm.
Talk to me about workforce, because I'm assuming that you have employees mostly rather than contractors.
Yes.
How does that change your point of view on how you plan for your business?
Sure. So we're a team of 5, and what Peaks Precast has, we have our design, we have our manufacturing, and then our install. So we're anywhere from a high school graduate to a professional engineer with multiple degrees. So we're able to offer several different jobs to the community. And what's really important to us is to find our workforce locally, which we've been able to do with our teamwork of 5. We're also looking outside the community to bring in some precast concrete experience and some off-site manufacturing experience. But we really want to spread the word to the community that these jobs are here. People don't need to go look for another community or go to the big city to get that innovative job. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of innovative companies here, and we're creating a small ecosystem of people that are working inside innovation for construction.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of on-the-job training that
Yes.
would happen. So you really learn problem solving at the base level, learning by doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I am every day.
So you've been in Chaffee County for a little bit of time, right? How long have you?
About 5 years.
Yeah.
And then Denver before then.
So how would you characterize Chaffee County from innovation and entrepreneurial?
It's on the leading edge right now, and the reason why I believe Chaffee County is at the forefront of innovation is because our ability to problem solve. And additionally, I believe Chaffee County has seen a huge population growth that has outpaced our housing supply. So it's a necessity. This isn't a fun hobby. It's a true necessity to increase the quality of our housing supply to ensure that there's affordability. And Chaffee County has been at the forefront of it. And additionally, Chaffee County is centrally located to a lot of other towns that are experiencing the same thing. So our ability to have a workforce here and have all the innovation here that can also service the surrounding county where there's a lot of the big ski resorts and different mountain towns that people are familiar with. So we can help Chaffee County and we can help the surrounding counties as well.
So when I think about precast concrete, I think heavy,
Yes.
big. How do you look at it for being able to economically get out to other geographic areas?
So when I said precast concrete has been around for a while, but we're doing something a little innovative, what we're doing innovation-wise is really through our engineering, and we're able to reduce the component size and therefore weight. And we're able to reduce the materials by about 25 to 30%, which then has a massive weight reduction. So at the core of every decision and every design is the weight to ensure that we can transport it and then it can be easily installed with just your typical construction equipment. We don't want to have huge trucks and huge cranes. We want to make sure that this is designed for every construction project and every general contractor. So we have a 200-mile shipping radius, and right now we can put about 1 house worth of foundations on 1 truck, really limiting the amount of transportation and our carbon footprint.
Chaffee County has an accelerator program, the Ascent program. You haven't gone through it yet.
I have not, but I've been accepted. And we just had our first meeting last week. I'm very excited for it.
So what do you think that's going to bring for you?
It's going to bring a lot of counsel, a lot of advisement, and additionally a ton of fantastic networking with local business owners, leaders, not only from a startup standpoint, but also leaders and advisors who have been in business for a long time and can provide appropriate direction for a new startup.
And this is going to be a hard question for you to answer because you really are an emerging company. But if I were a genie and I could give you one wish, what would you wish for to reduce the friction of your business to be successful?
Sure. So I'd ask for more wishes, but if I only had one, I would certainly ask for people to be open-minded. As I mentioned, precast concrete's been around for a long time, but educating Colorado and our local community how we can truly utilize it to expedite our construction projects and lower the overall cost of the construction project to provide more attainable homes, that would be the wish. It's education.
I love that. Well, there's got to be science science on it to show that.
There's engineering.
Yeah.
We have a ton of engineering.
Yeah, terrific. Well, Brent, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Funding for the Business of Colorado on PBS 12 is provided in part by Collegiate Peaks Bank, Ibotta, and from the generous support of viewers like you. Thank you.
Peaks Precast is also focused on building a local workforce while expanding its approach to communities across central Colorado. Wallace says the long-term goal is to help create more efficient, affordable, and sustainable housing options for the future. If you've ever wondered who the next generation of civic leaders in Colorado could be, all you have to do is experience a Civics Bee competition in action. Regional competitions are happening across our state. And this week, we head down to Falcon near Colorado Springs, where middle school students competed to answer questions about government, history, and civic responsibility. Take a look.
It's great to see kids getting involved with government and civics, and I don't know if you guys tried to answer some of those questions, but they were a little difficult. It's just great to see kids that want to be involved in thinking originally and having to answer questions live, from us judges.
We're listening to the clarity of the ideas and how it's presented from the kids, which we're always very impressed with. And then we're comparing that to the civic virtues that they were given in classroom to try to integrate into their essays. They've got great ideas and they're supporting them very well, and they're citing very good information. And then they're also elaborating on how they're going to construct those ideas, how they're going to, communicate within the community, who they're going to talk to. It's just a great way to get the kids involved in school. A lot of the teachers are promoting it for extra credit or actually making it part of their curriculum. And it's a way for them to learn about how government works and how ideas get brought up and how ideas also get challenged.
I think it's important to be participating in a Civics Bee because it kind of pushes you to learn more. And so when you learn more, it'll help you in life later on because you understand things better and deeply. It's fun because you get to meet new people, and then there's also prizes if you win for a second or third. And then you can also go to DC eventually if you make it really far.
I'm nervous, but also am extremely impressed by the knowledge base of these students and these children selected. They know so much and they studied very hard. And so as a parent just watching, there's not much I can do, but just, encourage and support them afterwards. I'm just as proud as can be. It allows them to engage more in their community and really see that civics isn't something just historical and that, book information, but you can learn and apply it in real life.
Good morning, everyone. We're about to begin our program. And as we do, we're going to start with a video production that was produced by the Daniels Fund.
The Civics Bee is in all 50 states this year, and El Paso County, it's only being hosted by our chamber. So although our chamber is the Eastern Plains, primarily Falcon, we reach all districts in our county and try to reach out to every single private and public school that has 6th, 7th, or 8th graders so that we can get broad and diverse participation. The Daniels Fund had this idea to put money into hosting civics education with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the State Chamber of Commerce, and individual chambers. The Daniels Fund comes in as a partner and a sponsor to help design curriculum and promote the event. We're just excited about anything that gets kids engaged, because the more that they learn and grow, the better our society will be, because they are our future.
Well, good morning, everyone. I want to welcome all of you to the third annual El Paso County Civics Bee. I want to particularly thank all the students here today for your participation.
The Daniels Fund is extremely interested in civics education. Here's why. Sadly enough, only about 30% of our adults in America over the age of 21 can pass our citizenship test. Only 1 in 4 of our high school students said, when they're asked whether the 3 branches of government can answer it. That's not good. Our goal, and it's an ambitious one, is to have 1 million participants by 2030. I think it's achievable because we're seeing dramatically increasing numbers of participants on the local and state level every year. Our objective is to incite greater civics understanding by our citizens. We've chosen middle school because we think it's really the best place to start. And I would encourage parents to talk to the schools and say, why aren't you involved in the Civics Bee? Because this is something that our country desperately, desperately needs.
Before we start the final round, round 3, can we give all our finalists a huge round of applause? Thank you guys so much.
I'm feeling really nervous, but I'm also feeling kind of confident since my sister and my mom helped me prepare. I make sure I know the content that the judges are going to ask, and I know a lot about the subject that I'm going to be questioned on. So, like the 27 amendments and the Bill of Rights and all of that. We just need to be actually engaged citizens in our community and to make our community better. So, by doing this and by being like actively engaged in civics, we can kind of make our country better.
I'm very proud of him, and I'm also very grateful for his teachers that helped him. I was very excited for him to compete. I was nervous for him, but I think it's really important that he represents St. Gabriel as well. It's a new school. It's only been open 4 years. It's good for young students to feel that little bit of nervousness and keep going anyways, right? It's important for them to have opportunities to feel nervous, to feel challenged, and to still keep going forward. It helps him to understand a little bit about local politics, about voting, about how important it is to vote, participate in democracy, and participate in whatever he can do to help his local community improve.
I didn't know if my essay would be like enough to get to the regional level, but I'm surprised. Like, I didn't know I could get here.
What makes you so interested in wanting to compete at an event like this today?
Like, my voice is heard, like everyone can hear like what I have to say.
Why do you think it's important for kids to be talking about this kind of stuff and not just adults?
Well, kids are the future and they can change it. It doesn't matter how young they are.
And in first place, Sydney Zane.
I studied a lot, especially with the study guide they gave us. Me and my mom rehearsed our answers in the car on our way down here. I think seeing all of the talented people here was really nerve-wracking, but I eventually was like, you know what? If I win, I win. If I don't, I don't, and it's gonna be great either way. There's so many good people and they're good essays, and I was surprised that I won, and I'm just super excited because I love like helping my community and learning about our country, and I was so excited.
What does that mean to you that you as a public school student won against, I think the majority of the kids here do not necessarily go to traditional public schools?
I think it shows that kids in public schools can actually win things, and if they put their mind to it, they can do stuff that private school kids, they can be smart, yeah, but you can also be smart if you go to a public school.
Support for the Civics Bee is brought to you in part by the Daniels Fund in commemoration of America's 250th and Colorado's 150th anniversary.
Falcon, near Colorado Springs, is just one of the many communities competing in our state's regional Civics Bee competitions this year. We'll be featuring more of these Civics Bees in the coming weeks right here on Studio 12, so make sure to stay tuned for that. The top 3 students from each regional bee will go on to compete at the State Civics Bee on July 24th at the Cable Center on the DU campus. The city of Denver is dreaming of an economic boost of $500 million and the opportunity to be cast in a very bright spotlight as a potential host of the 2028 Democratic National Convention. The last time Denver played host was back in 2008, but the city is hoping the Democratic National Committee will be moved by nostalgia and choose Denver again in 2028. It's something that our insiders talked about on the latest episode of Colorado Inside Out. So let's check in now with Kyle Dyer for more.
The first full week of May last week was a memorable one. We got that much needed moisture we'd wanted. Plenty of kids had a great surprise snow day, but we had some important visitors in town, probably not expecting a winter storm. And what they took away could factor into Denver's hopes of landing a future Democratic National Convention. Here are some thoughts from our insiders. This week was supposed to showcase Denver, hosting members of the Democratic National Committee and making the case to land a future presidential convention. Instead, a blast of May snow shut down schools and kind of stole the spotlight. Did the weather dampen Denver's pitch? And more broadly, what does the city have going for it now? And what might give decision makers some pause? Because Patty is a different Denver than when we hosted the DNC the last time.
They did get to come in, and rather than fight on Pena Boulevard, they got to take the A line in Tuesday morning. So that's a bonus, at least. That did not exist in 2008. No. I have to say, snow in May in Denver is not going to be a big damper in a convention that would be here in the summer, because we know Denver's weather is going to be good in the summer and very likely will not have a snowstorm, unlike, say, Atlanta, who's the city dissing the others the most. Atlanta, that'll be 100 degrees and 100 degrees, 100% humidity by the time this convention's held. So for weather, Denver has it over Philadelphia and Boston and Chicago. What we're pushing in Denver is it's the only site in the West, and Atlanta is dissing us for nostalgia, but people remember 2008, the first convention here in 100 years, very fondly, because it was Barack Obama's acceptance speech. That had to move from Ball Arena, then Pepsi Center, to the Empower Field because everyone wanted to be there. So it was hope and change. It was exciting. And I think Denver really is wanting to play off that again. Like, we are a Democrat-run state. It's only gotten more so in the 20 years. In fact, it changed in the 20 years after that, and it's gotten more so. So Denver might have a chance if they really want to celebrate what can be accomplished. But if they want to get more votes, might be another state.
But they did go to the Avalanche game.
They went to the Avalanche game. They went and sang karaoke at Charlie Brown's. Best idea yet.
All right, David, what do you think?
Well, I covered the 2008 convention for the Rocky Mountain News, and from what I could see at the Pepsi Center at the time, it seemed well run. So there's got to be some good memories of that. And as Patty was saying, the Obama messianic speech at Mile High Stadium was very helpful for his campaign, and believe me, the media there was just as enthralled with him as any 19-year-old delegate going to her first convention. The worst thing about 2008 was so many state delegations were housed in south suburban hotels, and the shuttle buses just couldn't keep up the capacity. So you had a lot of state delegations that missed huge portions of the convention because they didn't get there in time. Now, but there's a big change. There was about 8,000 hotel rooms in downtown Denver in 2008. Now we're up to about 13,000. So that solves the big thing. The only downside is another thing that's up in Denver is violent crime. It's up 43% compared to 2008.
Okay, Marianne.
I also covered the DNC in 2008. It was one of the most amazing experiences of my life as a reporter, and I had a very, very small portion of it to cover because my beat was really higher ed. But I had a great time getting to meet the protesters and the other folks who were outside Ball Arena primarily. And that's one area that I would want to see a little bit different, is a different way of handling people who disagree with what's going on. I don't think that they did a good job in 2008. I think anybody who wound up being caged, because that's what they did. Everybody kind of got put in cages around Ball Arena, actually over on the Aurora campus, so they weren't even on the same side of Spear Boulevard. That's one thing that I would hope that they would reconsider, is a different way of addressing that. The other thing, and I don't think anybody's really thought about this, is drought. And this state in August can turn into a very smoky mess if we have wildfire problems. And there's not a whole lot that they can do about that. On the other hand, if we wind up with that kind of summer, this year looks bad, although not as bad as it did a couple days ago. But if we wind up with a really bad wildfire season during 2028, that's not going to be a good look for Denver.
Okay, all right, Adam.
Denver's changed a lot in 20 years, and I think the state of Colorado as a whole, you could argue we're much more blue than we were 20 years ago when you look at the state legislative landscape. I also think it's interesting to look at the other cities. So Boston and Philly claiming, it's the bicentennial or on the heels of the bicentennial and returning to the roots of national politics. Something I think Denver has going for it is it's not just about Denver and Colorado. It's also about the West and the Sun Belt. So regionally, you have Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, big states in upcoming elections. So I think coming to the West would showcase the party interest in this part of the country, more so than in the East Coast, where we've seen pretty well-established roots of the party.
Okay, and what do I hear that they think $500 million is what Denver would get if we got this for how many days in the weeks before and
And we'd only have to raise $75 million to get it.
Okay, there's that. Every show we have 4 topics, and that was just one of them. You can watch our full conversation of Colorado Inside Out on the PBS Passport app, on our YouTube channel, or on PBS 12's website. And of course, we've got podcasts as well on Spotify and Apple. Now, we're already working on what are we good conversation makers for this week's show, so make sure to tune in starting this Friday night here on PBS 12 at 8 o'clock.
Tonight, through our partnership with the Colorado Environmental Film Festival, we're bringing you a story that flows straight from our state's rivers and the women who find power in them. Fly Chicks is a Colorado-based short documentary that takes a fresh look at fly fishing through a feminist lens. Directed by University of Denver filmmaker Kenzie Clauflin, this story is as much about identity and community as it is about the outdoors. Here's the film, Fly Chicks.
I've had a lot of experiences that I doubt would happen to somebody who looked different than me.
I never saw anybody like me.
I've never liked when someone said I couldn't do something. I didn't mind being the only girl.
Walked across the mountains up to the Great Divide. He crossed the creeks and rivers, searching far and wide, aiming for the color of crystal mountain streams. But he never found another look or enough to meet his dream.
My name is Melissa Sarin, and I am a fly fishing guide and a mental health therapist in Colorado. My favorite part about fly fishing. I think that's hard because I just love every part of it. The most exciting part of fly fishing for me is being able to be in such close contact with these beautiful fish. The colors for me are really striking, and that's what keeps me coming back. My thing is, I'm a woman in this industry in a very visible space, and there's all these men posting big pictures of fish. So it's not even necessarily I want to reflect myself well, but I want to show people that women are competent. And continuing to challenge that, I asked myself, well, how can we, instead of making competence look like achieving big fish and big fish days, maybe it looks like just appreciating nature, because at the end of the day, that's what a lot of people are out there for.
My name is Stephanie Gordon, and I'm with Colorado Women Fly Fishers, and I'm on the board as the trips director. When I first moved to Colorado, I didn't know anyone here, and I started fly fishing and kind of hanging out at my local fly shop, and little by little, I met some other women, and they were all really welcoming, and then I found Colorado Women Fly Fishers. I walked away feeling like I was part of a group, and I had a sense of community. At this point, we have almost 400 members in this organization. And we stay true to that original mission. It's building camaraderie and a culture of connection amongst this common passion of fly fishing. There has been like so many little moments. I think, helping someone catch their first fish. But for me personally, I just get the most reward out of seeing other women really succeeding in fly fishing.
Hi!
What are you all up to?
I'm gonna go fish over here for a little bit. I think they're headed to the river.
My name is Erica Nelson. My pronouns are she and her. I currently reside in Ute Territory, currently known as Crested Butte, Colorado. I am a fly fishing guide, a consultant, and I also host the Awkward Angler podcast. Most of my clients are from historically excluded communities, so I get a lot of women, transgendered folks, a lot of folks from the LGBTQ plus community, Two-Spirit. I think that's a pretty awesome honor, and I really like kind of setting them up on their own journey. I learned how to fly fish in Wyoming around 2016. I was looking for a new hobby and picked up a fly rod, got on YouTube. It's kind of like a puzzle, the right knot, the right fly, the right life cycle of the hatch. I had to kind of figure it out on my own, and I had this saying in don't know knots, tie lots. Fly fishing has taught me a lot of patience, a lot of gratitude, and sometimes not when I'm wanting those things to be taught to me. My favorite part about fly fishing is the connection. I think it takes a lot of things holistically to connect. It's not just about catching the fish, but it's about connecting with all living things. So the healthy air, the clean water, the bugs, the birds, and just watching the fish in a healthy habitat.
Last weekend, I pulled up to one of my favorite spots. There's a man and a woman, and he turns to me and he says, "So would you tell my wife that even women can learn to fly fish?" And I looked at her and I said, "Anyone can learn to fly fish. If it doesn't go well with your husband, here's my card." It's not just women fishing with their boyfriends or their husbands or a partner. I see women fishing by themselves. I see a group of ladies fishing.
It's a tricky question on whether misogyny plays into the way that people approach me online or on the water. My personal assumption is yes. Let's just say I've never been harassed by a woman on the water. It's interesting because when I'm fishing, I am the least aware of what I look like and the gender that I identify with. All that to say, I've shared negative interactions with men on the water online, and I cannot tell you how many messages I've received from some men, but a majority of women who have experienced the same type of, "You're not supposed to be here, you're not allowed to take up space where we are."
When I was fly fishing in Wyoming, I would experience a lot of racist and sexist sayings and experiences, which were unfortunate. And I started an Instagram account called Awkward Angler. That name means two things. One, it's awkward to fly fish, and nobody would broadcast that. It was always this picturesque, beautiful places, but also really big fish. And it seemed like every time you went out, you would catch a fish. And that wasn't my experience. And I kind of had these questions of is anyone else experiencing this and why? And how can we call in the industry to be empowered to change that?
I struggle significantly with anxiety, especially social anxiety. Things have helped me through my life, but the thing that helps me the most to manage those symptoms, to be present, that I've ever found is fishing. And so I imagine a lot of other people might turn to fishing because of that reason. It's just soothing. I'm gonna use a word called flow. Flow is where you totally lose sense of time. You're completely immersed in an activity, and then all of a sudden the sun is down. So when I'm engaged in something, I'm not thinking about past trauma experiences or anxiety that I'm experiencing. To engage in a sport where so often you're feeling awe, I can imagine it has those same long-term effects for you as well. For a moment, you might say, wow, I'm so small. And it kind of puts into perspective, we're only here for so long. I say, wow, I need to be more present.
I think it has a lot to do with just a quality of mental health and well-being that I think we can easily lose in these really hectic times in which we live. I think fly fishing and standing on a river or casting a rod, it just instills all the things, honestly, that make me happy. And sometimes you forget them, or things just seem a little off kilter, and I can get a fly rod and go to the river for an hour or 8, whatever it may be, and I'm right back where I need to be.
One of the things that I've helped try to do is educate others by creating the Angling for All Pledge, which is looking at ways to be more inclusive. And I think that's something that I'm trying to change and work on in the industry, is being that representation and being that influence that it is accessible and you don't need the whole get up in the gear. Like, you can literally just go with what you have.
Everybody starts somewhere, and the more challenging something is to start, I think the more rewarding it is when you start to figure it out. I was working with a woman who was a survivor of abuse. She just wasn't confident at all. And then by the end of the day, she actually hooked into maybe one of the biggest fish that a client has ever hooked into. By the end of the day, she was like, I did it. Like, I caught fish today and I hooked into that big fish. And you could just tell, not only in her words, but in her mannerisms, she felt so empowered by the experience.
I think it just takes some bravery to get out there and do it.
This is a sport for all people of all abilities, from all backgrounds, to get out and try it. The people who say you can't or shouldn't, don't pay any attention to them. Just pick up your fly rod and keep going.
Myself and so many other women out there continuously share how impactful this sport is to them, and so there must be something there, right?
A fly rod in your hand that makes you an angler. Right on. We fish on. Yeah.
Oh, the summertime's a-coming, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme blooms around the purple heather. Will ye go, laddie, go? And we'll all go together to pull wild mountain thyme all around the purple heather. Will ye go, laddie, go?
That was Fly Chicks, a powerful look at the intersection of nature, identity, and belonging right here in Colorado. The film highlights how fly fishing can be more than a sport. It can be a space for connection, reflection, and breaking barriers. Fly Chicks is just one of the many impactful films you will see here on PBS 12 with the support of our partners from the Colorado Environmental Film Festival. To watch Fly Chicks and all of our CEFF films, go to pbs12.org/CEFF. What happens when you mix meaningful conversation with a little bit of doodling? You get the Doodle Desk, where the stories are real and the drawings are questionable at best. In this episode, Kyle Dyer sits down with Colorado Inside Out panelist and Colorado Sun co-founder Jesse Paul. They also talk about State House reporting, trust in journalism, and telling stories that matter. And of course, It wouldn't be the Doodle Desk without a twist. They'll be drawing each other's portraits along the way, so we'll let you decide who the better artist is. Here's the Doodle Desk.
Okay, Jesse Paul is a journalistic go-getter. He's always thinking, always listening, and an excellent writer. Colorado is so fortunate to have someone so in the know about what is happening at the state legislature and who can then translate it all in such a conversational way for the Colorado Sun, which he helped found after leaving the Denver Post with other colleagues. When Jesse is slated to join an episode of Colorado Inside Out, I know he will bring an inside scoop or a quote from the governor or a leader on the legislature to add some context to the stories that are out there. Jesse, this is the first time I think you have brought your dog with us to PBS 12. Welcome to Ruthie there.
Hi, Ruthie.
Tell me about Miss Ruthie.
She is a 2.5-year-old white golden who's trying not to fall asleep. But yeah, she's very pretty, very calm.
Very
and my
calm.
sidekick. I'm hoping I can bring her to the Capitol this year. Do we just start this?
We can just start.
Okay.
And I'm just going to ask you questions to distract you. When you can find a good journalist who can filter out so much of the sensational, focus on what we need to know, and be able to express it in a way that we need to know so we can digest it, that's a find, and you're very good at what you do.
Thank you.
Did you always want to be a journalist?
I really liked writing, and when I was growing up, both my dad and my grandfather are both doctors, and so I kind of went to college. I went to Colorado College and thought that I was going to be a doctor too. But I've learned within 2 months that wasn't going to be the right thing for me. Took a journalism class and just kind of fell in love with it.
And then you came to Denver for the Denver Post. You interned there, is that right? That's how you started?
Yeah. So when I was when I was still in college, they offered me an internship, and a few months into the internship, they offered me a full-time job, which was kind of a pinch me moment because I really was not expecting that. And then was there for 4 years until I left to help found the Colorado Sun.
That's impressive that you got a job out of an internship right away. But the Denver Post changed so much.
Yeah.
That must have been hard.
It was, but it was also a good lesson in journalism. People who get into journalism now, I think they're kind of warned, don't do it, it's gonna be terrible, you're gonna get laid off. And I was really lucky that I didn't lose my job. It was a really great place to work, but when I had the opportunity to help found the Sun, it just seemed like an obvious opportunity.
But how daunting was it? I mean, why did you guys say we need to do this?
I think the idea was look, journalism is just not sustainable in Colorado right now.
Yeah.
And the idea, a lot of us were complaining about the owners of the Denver Post and wanted to do something about it. And so I felt like if I had an opportunity to put my money where my mouth was, that I had to do it.
And it worked. People love the Colorado Sun.
It works. It's worked so far. I mean, it's not been an easy. Not been an easy road at all. I've only been doing it for about a decade, so this is kind of all I've ever known.
You've only been working for 10 years?
Yeah.
You made such a splash so soon.
Well, feels like I've been doing it for a long time.
No, I think I appreciate your presence on Colorado Inside Out because you come so prepared and it's so natural for you. But with all your demands, why is Colorado Inside Out something that you want to commit to and be a part of?
Well, it's fun. I mean, first of all, I think it's good for the Colorado Sun. I think it helps kind of boost our profile. We're still a new organization. I really like talking with you.
Okay, thank you. Waiting for that.
Interesting people on it. Yeah. The topics are fun, and it brings all these different mediums that I've been trying to explore kind of help my brain a little bit, think about different stories, because it's so rare that I'm actually talking to people about what I'm doing, if that makes sense.
Okay.
My wife doesn't think politics is interesting, so she doesn't read my stories anymore, like she did when I was writing about people murdering each other. But she. So we work from home mostly, and so it's great to get out of the house and kind of have a conversation with people about what's going on, and have a conversation with the state about what's going on.
Are you almost done?
How are you doing?
Oh, it's it doesn't look at all like you.
Mine's abstract.
And I made your shoulders too thin, and you're a former wrestler,
I have
so
a
like
crazy
you
neck,
you
yeah.
have like big shoulders. I made you like this little skinny guy. So, you ready? Now or never.
All right, let's do it.
No matter what happens, Ruthie will always love you.
Okay, wait, I got it.
And I will not be offended, but please, and I made you just so frail. I'm just so sorry.
Okay, are you ready? Do we need a countdown?
Okay, 3, 2. I love you, Jesse. Oh my God. I like yours.
Mine's kind of abstract. You see what I missed there?
See, and I need a brown marker because it's too
I like
pale.
that.
But you're too
Yeah.
pale. Like I need
That's
more
okay.
brown and
It's supposed to be abstract.
that it is. So here we go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, what do you think, Ruthie?
So when you're no longer reporting, you're going to become an illustrator,
I don't think
drawer.
so.
But
I am trying to write a children's book.
You are?
With a friend of mine who's a very good drawer, yeah.
Really? What would it be about?
I can't tell you. It's somebody's gonna steal my idea.
Oh, really?
This isn't like.
No, I think that's really good.
I messed up the nose. The nose was
It's
wet.
okay. I'm not. It's a little darkened and it looks maybe cancerous, but I'm sure it's fine. Jesse, thank you so much for coming
Thank you for
today.
having me.
Ruthie, my darling, thank you for coming. And Jesse, thank you for being such an important part of our journalistic community in Colorado.
Yeah, thank you for having me and thanks for including us.
Yeah. That was just a sneak peek of one of our conversations with our panelists. For our full conversation with all of our insiders, check out the Doodle Desk on the Passport app, PBS 12's YouTube channel, or on our website, pbs12.org, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to seeing you the next time at the Doodle Desk.
From worm bins and affordable housing to young civic leaders, fly fishing, and a little doodling along the way, thanks for spending your time with us tonight. We love sharing the people, ideas, and stories that make Colorado such a unique place to live, work, and create community. You can watch full episodes of Studio 12 anytime on our YouTube channel or at pbs12.org. For all of us here at PBS 12, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Ryan Harrer. We'll see you next week.